This regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for May the 17th, 2016 will come to order. I'll ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We welcome all of you to this, the regular meeting for the month of May. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the last meeting, last regular meeting, which was held on April the 19th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you favor the approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. And now we have a public hearing, and this one is in regard to Ordinance 16-06. If passed, this would amend the city zoning ordinance regulating building sign design and installation within the corporate limits of Springfield. It would provide consistent signage regulations to allow reasonable property and building identification, to facilitate the creation of an attractive and harmonious community, to protect property values, and to further economic development. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to make a comment with regard to this proposed ordinance, please come forward to the podium that's to my left. Hearing none, I'll declare the public hearing having been concluded, and we move now to the legislative portion of the agenda. And the first item on that is Ordinance 16-06, being a second reading tonight, and this is the ordinance that makes changes in our signage requirements, provisions, etc. Is there a motion to consider?
Move for approval.
Second? Second. All right. James made the motion.
I made the motion.
Bobby seconded it. All right, any discussion now?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Head.
Under Amendment 3, Chapter 8, Section L, I have a question about exempt signs. What's the definition of the exempt sign?
All right. Who wants to be our expert on that? I think it's Mr. Grant Green. You'll come forward, our Community Development Director.
The exempt signs are typically the ones that don't require a permit. They are typically more along the lines of our signs and things of that nature. There are other signs in the zoning ordinance that do cover the that are exempt. However, it's mainly just things that we don't feel that a permit should be required for.
Other than street signs, what would that be?
I think we have allowances for like political signs, other types of signs that actually I don't have the list in front of me right at the moment. Let's see here. I didn't bring the list with me because it's not being changed on anything with exempt signs aren't subject to changes.
This exemption already exists?
Yes, sir.
You're not changing anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? If not, please call the roll.
Snyder? Aye. Cornell?
Aye.
Gregg?
Aye.
Sneed?
No.
Trotter?
Aye.
Head?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Aye.
Pass 6-1.
All right. And now we have ordinance 16-07 on first reading. This ordinance amends the fiscal year 2016 annual budget for the city of Springfield by amending the general fund budget. Is there a motion
So
on
moved.
this issue?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Well, yes, we do. This is a first reading and therefore requires that it be read. Okay.
Ordinance 1607, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 annual budget for the city of Springfield by amending the general fund budget. Whereas it is necessary to amend the city of Springfield annual budget for fiscal year 2016 in order to meet the requirements of the city charter. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee, that the city of Springfield annual budget for fiscal year 2016 is hereby amended to make necessary changes to expenditures within the general fund as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewithin are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
All right. Is there a motion that this be considered? We have that. And a second. All right. Now, we had a workshop pertaining to this last Tuesday. Spent about almost...
This is the one we're in 2016.
Okay. Just a moment then. All right.
Yeah, we just need to vote.
Okay, we're ready for the vote then. If there's anything further on this? Okay. Motion's called for.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Cornell,
Aye.
Trotter,
Aye.
Snyder, Head,
Yes.
Gregg,
Aye.
pass 7-0.
Okay. Now, the comment that I just made applies to the next one, which is the first reading on our ordinance 16-08, which adopts the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st and running through June 30th of 2017. And this is what we had a meeting for about nearly 3 hours last week.
Amen.
And heard an awful lot of information pertaining to some of the major projects and the debt service of the city, etc. It includes proposes no tax increase. It does, that's one of the main highlights and what people look at first, but has a number of projects that are included within it. And there was, a world of information that was presented, and overall it was a very positive thing. I would point out some of the highlights include the fact that our fund balance, that has, our goal was to get that back up to something over $2 million. It had dropped to just under that a couple of years ago as we were pulling out of the slump due to the housing crisis and all of that. And now the good news is we're expecting a fund balance at the end of June 30th of around $4 million. So that is a substantial improvement with a tax rate as low as ours is. The other good news is that not this coming fiscal year, but the following fiscal year, the debt service in the general fund will drop by the debt service payment in the general fund will drop by over $500,000. And I would consider that a tremendous amount of progress. And for our employees, if this budget is passed as proposed, there is a 3.4% increase in allotment for salaries to be allocated consistent with the study that has just been done to show that where we are out of line with various job categories. And that doesn't mean that everybody gets a 3.4% raise. It means that that's the sum total. Some will get more than that, some will get less, depending upon the market situation involving those particular job classifications. So there was a lot of good news there, and we're optimistic that most people, after they look at this, will be very pleased. Of course, there are rate increases proposed for both water and sewer, and you're well aware of that because we're doing a total overhaul in the sewer department, as you're well aware from looking at the streets and seeing the flagpole people who have come here to roost. I believe they're going to be here forever as they work with all of the different cuts we've had to make in various streets, etc. The good news is once you get through that, and we're about 70% through with it at this time. Am I right, Roger? You're going to have a Class A sewer system. That might not be a pleasant thing to talk about, but if it wasn't in working order, we'd all be in a bad situation. It was required. It's very expensive, but it's something that cannot be ignored. The other thing that is in there pertaining to a rate increase is the water, with regard to the water budget. And the reason for that, as many of you know from what you read in the paper or different information that you've gathered, we are now contracted with the Logan-Todd water system, which serves all of Logan County and Todd counties in Kentucky. They also serve the city of Oak Grove, adjacent to Fort Campbell. They're a wholesale water provider, and they draw water from the Cumberland River in downtown Clarksville, just by the old railroad bridge, and they pump that water along the railroad track about 15 miles from the middle of Clarksville to the middle of the big city of Guthrie, Kentucky. Now, they currently serve those two counties plus Oak Grove, and they pump about 3 million gallons a day. When we become their customer, they will be pumping an additional 2.3 million gallons to increase our capacity, with the advantage of not only increased capacity, but a second treatment plant is available to supply us, and those are critical factors. If one goes down, you've got the other one still available. So with all of that having been said, we think we've gone about providing this increase in water capacity in the most cost-effective way that we could possibly do it. But it isn't cheap, as anything is in the way of major infrastructure improvements. The point of all this conversation is to let you know that we're trying to line things up so that the infrastructure in this city is adequate and to the fullest extent for the next 20 or 30 years. If water is provided, if the sewer system is in good shape, those are major factors. The other factor that fits into that a great deal is the strength of your highways and streets, and of course with the improvements that are underway now, causing quite a bit of pain, but nevertheless 431 will look a whole lot better in a couple of years, and we'll be glad that that was here. All of that is going to open Springfield to a whole lot of progress in the future. It's where most people want to see us growing, and you need to know that this type of investment is here to stay and something we need to prepare for the future. We'd be in bad shape if we had let those opportunities go without taking care of them. All right. Do we have a motion now on this budget? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, now discussion. Do you want to read it all now? It says 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
You're going to see.
The law requires that this budget be read in its entirety. This is not the most interesting thing you'll hear read, but it is a state requirement. Our city clerk will do that at this time.
Ordinance 1608, an ordinance of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Title IX, Chapter 1, Section 116 requires that all funds of the state of Tennessee and all its political subdivisions shall first be appropriated before being expended, and that only funds that are available shall be appropriated. And whereas the Municipal Budget Law of 1982 requires that the governing body of each municipality adopt and operate under an annual budget ordinance, presenting a financial plan with at least the information required by that state statute, that no municipality may expend any monies regardless of the source except in accordance with the budget ordinance, and that the governing body shall not make any appropriation in excess of estimated available funds. And whereas the governing body has published the annual operating budget and budgetary comparisons of the proposed budget with the prior year actual and the current year estimated in a newspaper of general circulation not less than 10 days prior to the meeting where the governing body will consider final passage of the budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Section 1. that the governing body estimates anticipated revenues of the municipality from all sources to be as follows. General fund, local taxes, fiscal year 2015 actual, $13,919,308. Fiscal year 2016 estimated, $14,579,456. Fiscal year 2017 proposed, $14,730,874. Intergovernmental revenue, $2,210,318. Estimated, $2,399,446. Proposed, $2,439,775. Fines and forfeitures, $147,149. Estimated, $154,954. Proposed, $173,000. Miscellaneous revenue, $2,730,732. Estimated, $2,042,537. Proposed, $2,034,300. Total revenue as actual, $19,007,507. Estimated, $19,176,393. Proposed, $19,377,949. Fund balance, $1,752,254. Estimated, $3,831,466. Proposed, $3,833,380. Total funds available, actual, $20,759,761. Estimated, $23,007,859. Proposed, $23,211,329. State Street Aid Fund, intergovernmental revenue, actual, $546,417. Estimated, $442,807. Proposed, $420,000. Miscellaneous revenue, $997. Estimated, $1,500. Proposed, 0. Total revenue, actual, $547,414. Estimated, $444,307. Proposed, $420,000. Fund balance, actual, $669,355. Estimated, $853,693. Proposed, $741,349. Total available funds, $1,216,769. Estimated, $1,298,000. Proposed, $1,161,349. Drug fund. Court fines and costs, actual, $11,134. Estimated, $23,272. Proposed, $10,000. Total revenue, $11,134. Estimated, $23,272. Proposed, $10,000. Fund balance, $169,854. Estimated, $174,685. Proposed, $130,175. Total available funds, actual, $180,988. Estimated, $197,957. Proposed, $140,175. Federal asset forfeiture. Total revenue, actual, $5,109. Estimated, $38,048. Proposed, 0. Fund balance, actual, $50,915. Estimated, $24,513. Proposed, $62,561. Total available funds, $56,024. Estimated, $62,561. Proposed, $62,561. Sanitation. Total revenue, $1,415,134. Estimated, $1,112,358. Proposed, $1,537,526. Fund balance, $341,025. Estimated, $498,305. Proposed, $526,665. Total available funds, actual is $1,756,159. Estimated, $1,610,663. Proposed, $2,064,191. Stormwater management. Total revenue, actual, $394,541. Estimated, $396,820. Proposed, $391,900. Total balance, actual, $424,623. estimated $600,693, proposed $389,138. Total available funds is actual is $819,164, estimated $997,513, proposed $781,038. Underwater. Total revenue, actual $7,399,222, estimated $8,570,886, proposed $9,248,848. Fund balance, $142,442, estimated $840,554, proposed $885,563. Total funds, actual $7,541,664, estimated $9,411,440, proposed $10,134,411. Wastewater. Total revenue, actual $5,039,501, estimated $6,836,853, proposed $8,075,687. Fund balance, actual $1,619,470, estimated $2,053,502, proposed $2,670,136. Total available funds, $6,658,971. Estimated, $8,890,355. Proposed, $10,745,823. Natural gas. Total revenue, actual $10,649,887. Estimated $9,597,293. Proposed $13,477,751. Fund balance, actual $5,670,011. Estimated $4,822,079. Proposed $4,823,319. Total available funds, actual $16,319,098. Estimated $14,419,372. Proposed $18,301,070. Under electric, total revenue, actual $28,969,574. Estimated $28,362,387. Proposed $33,624,521. Fund balance, actual $2,087,013. Estimated $1,878,901. Proposed $1,890,798. Total available funds, actual $31,056,587. Estimated $30,241,288. Proposed $35,515,319. Section 2. That the governing body appropriates from these anticipated revenues and expended and unencumbered funds as follows. General fund. General government, actual $3,891,492. Estimated $4,394,768. Proposed $4,621,553. Public safety, actual $6,352,364. Estimated $7,148,878. Proposed $7,167,213. Public works, actual $1,870,295. Estimated $2,434,370. Proposed $2,336,306. Parks and Recreation, actual $2,132,359. Estimated $2,407,685. Proposed $2,402,820. Debt services, $2,681,805. Estimated $2,569,885. Proposed $2,715,093. Total appropriations, actual $16,928,295. estimated $18,955,586, proposed $19,242,985. Street aid fund, streets, actual $363,076, estimated $556,651, proposed $961,349. Total appropriations $363,076, estimated $556,561, proposed $961,349. Drug fund, police, actual $6,303, estimated $67,682, proposed $140,175. Total appropriations, actual $6,303, estimated $67,782, proposed $140,175. Federal asset forfeiture, actual $31,511, estimated 0, proposed $62,561. Total appropriations, actual $31,511, estimated 0, proposed $62,561. Enterprise funds, sanitation, actual $1,257,854, estimated $1,083,998, proposed $1,537,526. Stormwater management, actual $218,471, estimated $608,375, proposed $701,482. Wastewater, actual $4,605,469, estimated $6,220,219, proposed $7,563,601. Water, actual $6,701,110, estimated $8,525,877, proposed $8,519,879. Natural gas, actual $11,497,019, estimated $9,596,053, proposed $13,371,018. Electric, actual $29,177,686, estimated $28,350,490, proposed $33,372,782. Section 3, at the end of the current fiscal year, the governing body estimates balances, deficits as follows. General fund, $4,052,273. State street aid fund, $741,349. Drug fund, $130,175. Section 4, that the governing body recognizes that the municipality has bonded and other indebtedness as follows. Bonds, debt redemption, $52,942,656. Interest requirements, $17,688,365. Debt authorized and unissued, 0. Condition of sinking fund, $336,644. Notes, debt redemption, $5,340,246. Interest requirements, $500,083. Debt authorized and unissued, $2,904,698. Condition of sinking fund, 0. Capital leases, debt redemption, $123,634. Interest requirements, $27,469. Debt authorized and unissued, 0. Condition of sinking fund, 0. Other debt, debt redemption, 0. Interest requirements, 0. Debt authorized and unissued, 0. Condition of sinking fund, 0. Section 5. During the coming fiscal year, the governing body has planned capital projects and proposed funding as follows. Citywide projects, proposed amount financed by appropriations, $6,992,619. Proposed amount financed by debt, $47,239,862. It is reasonably expected that the municipality will reimburse itself for certain expenditures made by it in connection with the planned capital projects through the issuance of debt. This ordinance shall be placed in the minutes of the governing body and shall be made available for inspection by the general public at the office of the governing body. This ordinance constitutes a declaration of official intent under Treasury Regulations, Section 1.150-2, Section 6. No appropriation listed above may be exceeded without an amendment of the budget ordinance as required by the Municipal Budget Law of 1982, TCA Section 6-56-208. In addition, no appropriation may be made in excess of available funds except to provide for an actual emergency threatening the health, property, or lives of the inhabitants of the municipality and declared by a 2/3 vote of at least a quorum of the governing body in accord with Section 6-56-205 of the TCA. Section 7. Money may be transferred from one appropriation to another in the same fund only by appropriate ordinance by the governing body, subject to such limitations and procedures as it may describe as allowed by Section 6-56-209 of the TCA. Any resulting transfer shall be reported to the governing body at its next regular meeting and entered into the minutes. Section 8. A detailed financial plan will be attached to this budget and become part of this budget ordinance. In addition, the published operating budget and budgetary comparisons shown by fund with beginning and ending fund balances and the number of full-time equivalent employees required by Section 656-206 TCA will be attached. Section 9. If for any reason a budget ordinance is not adopted prior to the beginning of the next fiscal year, the appropriations in this budget ordinance shall become the appropriations for the next fiscal year until the adoption of the new budget ordinance in accordance with this Section 656-210 TCA, provided sufficient revenues are being collected to support the continuing appropriations. Approval of the Director of the Division of Local Finance and the Comptroller of the Treasury for a continuation budget will be requested if any indebtedness is outstanding. Section 10. This is hereby levied a property tax of $1.20 per $100 of assessed value on all real and personal property. Section 11. All unencumbered balances of appropriations remaining at the end of the fiscal year shall lapse and revert to the respective fund balances. Section 12. This ordinance shall take effect on July 1st, 2016, the public welfare requiring it.
Take a deep breath. Thank you very much. Why the state likes that to be read, nobody that I know knows, but nevertheless the law still requires it, and our city clerk, Stephanie Peterson, did a great job. So we do have a motion and a second on this, do we not?
Yes, you do.
Yes, we do. All right, floor is open for discussion on the matter before you, which is the budget proposed for the 2016-2017 fiscal year.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
after reviewing, this is my 24th budget, I find this to be most fiscal sound budget that we've had. I'm elated about the debt service that we are. I'm especially pleased with some of the major capital outlay projects that we're going to lay to rest. And the whole budget's got us to a point of not where we are, but where we can become. So I have to commend Mr. Nutting and staff for creating such a budget. And the department heads did a good job of being very fiscal conservative. So it's okay with me.
All right. Other comments or questions? All right. Now, for the benefit of the public, of course, this requires 3 readings. This being the first, and on the date of the second meeting, we will have our public hearing, and that will be the June meeting, which I believe is the 21st of June. So the public will be allowed to make any comment that they wish to make at that time. Hearing no further comment, the call for the vote.
Okay. Head,
Yes.
Cornell,
Aye.
Trotter,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Pass 6-1.
Thank you very much. And now we have ordinance 16-09 on first reading. This ordinance would rescind ordinance 15-06 in its entirety and set a new schedule for rates and charges for the Springfield water system.
Move for approval?
Second.
Okay, so I gotta read it. I gotta read it.
All right, now it's ready to read.
Ordinance 1609, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 1506 in its entirety and setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield water system, whereas it has become necessary to increase water rates in order to pay for increased costs of operations, maintenance, and debt service for the water system, and whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that the fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action, which must be exercised by ordinance, and now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, that ordinance 1506 is hereby rescinded in its entirety and a new schedule of rates and charges is hereby adopted as follows. Section 1, all direct retail customers shall pay a minimum monthly bill. The minimum bill shall include the treatment, transmission, storage, and distribution of the first 2,000 gallons of water per month. The minimum monthly bill for each customer class shall be as follows. Residential, city rates $16.25, county rates $24.37, small commercial less than or equal to 24,000 gallons per month, city rates $24.93, county rates $37.40, large commercial greater or equal to 24,000 gallons per month, city rates $37.47, county rates $56.21, industrial, city rates $57.31, county rates $85.96. Section 2, all retail customers shall pay a consumptive rate of all water usage in excess of the first 2,000 gallons per month. The use rate shall be for each 1,000 gallons and any fractional portion thereof. The use rate for each customer shall be as follows. 2001 to 5,000 gallons, city rates $6.20 per 1,000 gallon, county rates $9.30 per 1,000 gallon. Category 5,001 to 20,000 gallons, city rates $5.28 per 1,000 gallon, county rates $7.92 per 1,000 gallon. 20,001 to 100,000 gallons, city rates are $4.33 per 1,000 gallon, county rates $6.50 per 1,000 gallon. More than 100,000 gallons, city rate is $3.71 per 1,000 gallon, county rate $5.56 per 1,000 gallon. Section 3, the charge for treatment, transmission, and storage for wholesale customers shall be as follows. Wholesale, $3.82 per 1,000 gallon. Section 4, credit for one water leak for each account shall be allowed in any 12-month period. Credit shall be in the amount of a maximum of 25% reduction in the total bill. Under no circumstances shall the total bill be less than the annual average or best estimated annual average as a result of the utilization of the credit. Proof of the leak in the form of a plumber's invoice for repair will be required. Section 5. All ordinances, resolutions, or policies in conflict herewithin are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. Section 6. This ordinance shall be effective with billing of July 1st, 2016.
All right, you've heard the reading of the ordinance 16-09, which sets the new schedule of rates and charges for the water system. It has been moved and seconded, is that correct? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Trotter.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Gregg.
Aye.
Cornell.
Aye.
Pass 6-1.
All right, we move to the next page, and item 2.5 is in regard to ordinance 16-10. This also is a first reading. Is there a motion to get it on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Now Stephanie will read this. This sets the new schedule of rates and charges for the sewer system.
Ordinance 16-10, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 1507 in its entirety and setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield sewer system. Whereas it has become necessary to increase sewer rates in order to pay for increased costs of operations, maintenance, and debt service for the sewer system. And whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that the fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action, which must be exercised by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, that Ordinance 1507 is hereby rescinded in its entirety, and a new schedule of rates and charges is hereby adopted as follows. Section 1. All direct retail customers shall pay a minimum monthly bill. The minimum bill shall include the treatment and collection of the first 2,000 gallons of discharge per month. The minimum monthly bill for each customer class shall be as follows. Residential for city rates, $32.13. County rates, $48.18. Small commercial less than or equal to 24,000 gallons per month. City rates, $49.31. County rates, $73.97. Large commercial greater than 24,000 gallons per month. City rate, $82.12. County rates, $123.18. Greater than 24,000 gallons a month. Industrial. City rates, $327.79. County rates, $491.68. Section 2, all customers shall pay a use rate based on the volume of wastewater collected for treatment in excess of 2,000 gallons per month. The use rate shall be for each 1,000 gallons and any fractional portion thereof. The use rate for each customer shall be as follows. Category 2,001 gallons to 5,000 gallons. City rates is $10.19 per 1,000 gallon. County rates $15.28 per 1,000 gallon. 5,001 gallon to 20,000 gallon. City rates $8.81 per 1,000 gallon. County rate $13.21 per 1,000 gallon. 20,001 to 100,000 gallons, $7.49 per 1,000 gallon. County rates $11.24 per 1,000 gallon. Greater than 100,000 gallons, $6.11 per 100 gallon, 1,000 gallon. County rate $9.17 per 1,000 gallons. Section 3, credit for filling a swimming pool shall be given one time per year based on pool capacity. This credit cannot cause the monthly bill to fall below average usage. Section 4, all ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewithin are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. Section 5, this ordinance shall become effective with billing of July 1st, 2016.
Thank you. All right, any discussion on this proposed ordinance?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Just to summarize all of the time it took to read that to the viewers, unless I'm in error, what that amounts to is the minimum sewer for a city resident, whether you use anything, any water usage, if not your minimum bill in the city will be for commercial $74 for your sewer, and if you're for your sewer and water for commercial, small commercial, the minimum no usage at all $74, and your minimum no usage for a residence will be $48 plus your storm water, plus your electric, plus your gas. So just to clarify all of what was read,
All right.
your minimum bill $48.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Sneed,
No.
Cornell,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Snyder, Charter,
Aye.
pass 6-1.
All right, 2.6 is a resolution, 16-13, which would declare certain property as surplus and authorizing the disposal of such property. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Second?
Second.
Thank you, Bobby. Any discussion on this? Please call the roll.
Cornell,
Aye.
Snyder, Hubbard,
Aye.
Charter,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
pass 7-0.
All right. We move now to the administrative portion of the agenda. The first is the monthly adjustment of electric rates due to the monthly wholesale fuel cost adjustment by our electric provider, which is TVA. The amount proposed this time, what have we got?
The amount proposed this time is 1.837 cents per kilowatt hour increase, and that's based on TVA's fuel cost adjustment, which is this month for June is going to be roughly 12.6% higher than May, and that is due to TVA having a seasonal rate adjustment. June, July, August, and September are higher months because of the heat. And we also did not have the hydro generation as we've had in the past, as they've had in the past, not
All right.
we.
Thank you very much. Do we need a motion on that one?
So
please?
moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
So, Mr. Rowland, we have to bite the bullet, huh?
Robert gave you the job of presenting the bad news, wasn't that it, Roland? If it goes up, you're here. We ought to know when you walk in, it's going up. If he walks in, it's going down. Is that it? Okay. Well, you're just the messenger, so we're not going to shoot the messenger, okay? All right. Any discussion now? Please call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Cornell.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, same thing for the gas department, and let's get a motion on that first.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
You're shaking your head, Mr. Riddle.
I wish I'd have sent somebody else over.
Well, you could deputize your assistant there, Liam. Come on.
I figured I'd take my medicine, but
Yeah.
the PGA's up 10% this month.
Okay, well, you've had a lot of months of going down.
Yeah.
I will say that. All right. All right, you've heard the bad news. And we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion now?
Yes, I just left South Texas Gas Country, and it was at a standstill there. Wells wasn't pumping, and so that's where
It's so cheap, they won't sell it.
it's so cheap, won't sell. That's why it's driving our rates up.
Looks like while you've down in Texas, you could have done something about that, James. I mean, that's your home territory.
I really couldn't, because they were sort of upset with the Middle East.
Well, yeah, I guess.
put that on there.
I think they were at the time. All right, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Cornell.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 3.3 is to discuss and possibly act on a request to use the football field at MLK Junior Park by a potentially newly formed junior pro football league. Is there a motion this be considered?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, who's making the presentation here, please? Well, Coach Greg Bell.
Yes, Mayor,
Welcome.
City Manager Nutting, and the board. My name is Greg Bell, resident right here in Springfield, and I come this afternoon representing the Springfield Youth Focus Development, which is a nonprofit organization here in Springfield that will include children 5 to 12 years old. Our mission statement is to focus on to strengthen the youth in our community academically and spiritually by using the sport of football as a vehicle. Our vision is to pave a way for the spiritual growth, place families first, academics is a priority, and to encourage youth to follow their dreams. Springfield Youth Development is requesting the use of public facilities, which includes Martin Luther King Park, for all football home games and or playoffs, if qualified, which would include the football field being prepared for home games, press box, scoreboard, restroom facilities, and concessions for refreshments. We also request an area for weekly practices to be provided. We do have officers in place: President Terrell Dunbar, Vice President Wayne Jones, Secretary Felicia Maniche, Treasurer Tremaine White, Program Director Terrence Woodard, Fundraising Chairperson Donnie Payne, Uniform Chairperson Travis Jones, Coaching Advisor Marcus Johnson, Youth Advisor Sartadius Bigby, and I will work in the position of Athletic Director. So this is why we're here tonight, because we feel that the Junior Jackets would feel better, and we would feel better about them playing right here at home than taking this type of recreational opportunity for our youth elsewhere.
All right. Is there a motion now that we got it? Okay. All right, let's see what questions we may have about this. Has this been run through Parks and Recreation, who is in charge of the maintenance and all of that, Greg?
We have discussed with Parks and Recreation, yes, sir. In regards to that, we have not come up with a solution, an agreement in regards to the use of that facility for home games for the Junior Jackets.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nutting.
Well, we all hold Coach Bell in high esteem, and actually the situation is a lot more complicated than this, because this board made a decision 12 years ago to build first-rate facilities for junior pro sports of all types, including football, in which we built the very best football field in the area. We decided we would run our own programs, and we have done so successfully. The football program has been outstanding. And the fact is, this is simply going to undercut the city's existing program. Remember, there aren't that many children who play football. Matter of fact, it's conceivable you may not have enough for either program to exist. It's something that, I've got a lot of reasons that I've given in the memo. I won't voice any more here. That's for you. The city has always felt fiduciary responsibility, consistent management were a strength for our programs. As you know, as you've seen in many leagues, that leadership changes in these youth sports programs, and leadership is inconsistent, performance is inconsistent, and even now and then fiduciary responsibility is lacking. So these are all strengths of our program. I think Terry has presented a very good summation. You can see the cost effectiveness of what we provide for $65 is a very competitive rate versus other programs. So, if this were a situation where we had so many children wanting to play football, we couldn't reasonably get enough children on the field to participate or play, then, going into two leagues might be a good idea. If the question here has been, we're not happy with the league we're in, well, that's a decision that this board can make if you want to send children playing throughout Middle Tennessee instead of locally. But we don't have a hang-up on what league we play in, just as long as it's a good league. But I think I would make the case that this needs to remain a city-run program. We made this commitment. You can't go to Mike, and Mike hasn't got the authority to make certain decisions. Mike is an excellent program director. Terry really doesn't have the authority to change this, and quite frankly, when it involves travel and whatever, I'm really, as I told them, I'm not sure, I told Mr. Payne, I'm not sure I have the right to make that decision. It really needs to be this board. So, I would like to say, because really the way this is coming down is not really the best way it should be. This shouldn't be happening at registration time. This should have been a discussion last fall before the season was over, so that people could get in and make whatever arrangements we wanted to do. We wanted to switch leagues if that was an issue. we'd have time to do it. But now we've got parents and children confused about what's going on. You know, if you're going to undercut the league and then say, well, by the way, we want to use your field, my recommendation is, heck no, because that's going to undermine all our youth sports. My recommendation, it would be nice if we could compete for one more season in the league we're in and see if, you know, if there's a strong feeling that we need to switch leagues, but only under a city-sponsored program.
Mr. Mayor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Hubbard.
First of all, some of you may not know, but I came from the football college of Tennessee to set the record straight under John Merritt. So I know football over through and through. Mr. Bell, don't take this personally, but I've been in this rodeo dealing with this for about 21 years. About 16 years ago, he got out, and then he begged to come back in. That's when we put our heads together, and being a football man that can coach it and understand it and everything else, I pushed to make sure that we got one of the best programs in the state of Tennessee. And I know we have. I look at your cover letter. Well, if you want spiritual counseling, I don't think Terry Martin is second rated. Can I get an amen? And I know he comes from that function, okay? Academically, yes, we've always stressed that, okay? As far as enhancing a diversified city that want to grow, we've always put that out there. I look at some of the complaints and I say, you know, if you'd come, we could sit down and work this out. And being an elected businessman, don't take it personally, I'm not going to cut my throat. We got too much money invested in this. Okay, and number two, when you look at it, when you really look at what we charge, understand, I mean, I'll be finishing in a minute, Mr. Mayor, but I got to make sure that I exercise what my ward voted me for.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, the fees are reasonable. The types of jerseys are reasonable. The concussion program is reasonable. The program scheduling is reasonable. See, we got a program director that's second to none on this. And then I look at this also, you know, miscellaneous, we give $5.33 per child for footballs, first aid kits, helmet stripes, mouthpieces, chin strap, tape, free use of center for banquet. And let me go on down, since a lot of you people might not know, each department has a budget and they got to pay for what they use. Okay? Maintenance crew, 5 staff, $3 an hour, $263, 2.5 case of field lining, paint, $48.50 for the case, $121. And then on the day of the game, 7 employees are used, $24.57 for 8 hours, and that's $1,375.92. We got a very competitive league. Yes, we were open. It was open for all types of recommendations for the complaints I got. So, as I say, to push for what we can become, and as I always stood, okay, I'm not going to mess up a ship that's been sailing well. And don't take it personal, but my vote is no, no, no.
With all the information that I've heard right now, in regards to that, we don't really have a complaint with the league as it is. But what we do know is during the times, even with TSSAA, and if you look at it that way, every 2 years they give high school members an opportunity to reclassify every 2 years. Our thing is, we do not want to move or to play in a different league for any negative reason. What we are wanting to do is to use the field to enhance and play against tougher competition than these students have faced in the past. We are looking at children who will play students at the middle school and at the high school level possibly for the next 10 years, because these leagues will consist of Gallatin, Goodlettsville, Lebanon, Middle Tennessee Bulldogs, Mount Juliet, Nashville Cardinals, Nashville Eagles, Old Hickory, Smyrna, Una, Hendersonville, and Clarksville. If you would look at that, and if you would break it down, these leagues will be and are already compatible to what they will be playing against as they grow and develop within the program. Now, in saying that, I would love to have these communities come into my home, not only to see where we play, but to see the facilities that this city provides. It is not about anything being wrong. It is about to enhance. It is about to expose. And we would be exposing the city of Springfield simply because of the vehicle of football, and we're not leaving out cheerleading as well. We already have 101 students signed up with 28 cheerleaders. This would be enough to fill the number of teams that would be eligible to go into a new league. We have no complaint. The only thing we want to be able to do is use Martin Luther King Field to host home games with a new football league that we are looking at playing. Different competition. Different competition. It is not about the process or the governing that has been taking place in the past. I have coached in the league more than one occasion. It's an opportunity to step up on this occasion.
All right, so what this request actually is to authorize another league, a new league, to have access both for practice and for home games to use MLK.
Exactly.
Is what you're saying. Okay, that is what is before you.
No, sir, but you're missing the point.
That is what
I really don't feel like that I or the league or those in favor of this is really missing the point, Alderman Hubbard. Simply because it is an opportunity. We know that it will be challenging, but we are ready to face the challenge. That's what I'm saying. We are ready to face the challenge and step up the efforts of citizens. The only stake I have in this is that I am a citizen and a resident and a lifetime resident and a former athletic director and also educator of Springfield. Most of these people that I called out here today have no stake. They are totally volunteers. A lot of them don't have children playing. These are not parents that want to coach their kids. These are volunteers that want to see the growth and development continue to take place. We talked about spiritual leadership. A commissioner a lot of times does not have time to offer spiritual leadership because he will not see those players 2 or 3 times a week. It will be the coaches. It will be their parents. It will be myself. It will be, once again, everyone that I had named that will mentor day in and day out.
I think you've explained it, and I'm going to take a question.
And my last point, my last thing, and I'll take my seat after this. But Mr. Cornell, years ago, you would come in and out of Springfield High School, and we would have conversation. I asked you, Mr. Cornell, what would you see me doing maybe after I retire? And your response to me was, I see you working in recreation. And here I am.
I understand that. Go ahead,
Mr. Bell, You said that you've had some conversations with the Parks Director. Have you gotten any figures on what it would cost? Have they told you a lease price or what it would cost per game?
We have a figure right now that was mentioned to us. The use of the facilities, $350 to $400.
The use of the Martin
For use of facility for home games, Parks and Recreation. Yes, sir.
Terry, is that an accurate figure for the use of the Martin Luther King? Because
375 to 450 was a conversation that Mr. Bell and I had. I let him know that I could not put that in place after looking at the numbers and then meeting with Mr. Nutting. We had to add one more employee to be on hand at the games, and that also didn't include the cost for staff to paint the field for every game. So we added those two things.
my understanding of we had the South Haven has used the field in the past.
I remember those days.
And we established at their request, because we didn't have it set up, but when they requested, I recall, if it's right, Terry, was it at $900, and then what did we lower it to $700?
$700.
So it's $700 right now is what we as a board established as a per use for that field, and that's per game. I guess that you'd have to charge that per practice too, or is that just the main reason it was that high is because the lights, when you flip the switch, turn on the lights, it was sucking up like hundreds of dollars worth of electricity.
I understand.
So there's a little bit of miscommunication on how much it was going to cost. So I don't have any more questions.
All right. Well, I thank you, but
Greg, we thank you for the presentation.
We're still in a position to go ahead and work in enhancing the lives of children.
Okay, well,
All right, now Mr. Hubman.
This is not to say that you don't have the right to establish this nonprofit. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm not going to kill my league.
I understand that.
Do you understand that?
I understand that
So
totally.
if you would understand, I'm not going to undercut something we've built. Okay.
I understand that
and
as
we
well.
can take it to any level. Okay, we can take it to the level that you can even think about.
I have
Even
no
from the
problem with
spiritual- even
that.
from the spiritual
we
aspect.
have no problem with that.
Okay.
We have no problem with the league as it is. The only thing we're looking at is using a public park right here in the city of Springfield to enhance the lives of children and give them an opportunity to play football right here at home against a higher level of competition that they've seen in the past.
All right, thank you, Greg.
Ulterior.
Now, did you have a question?
I do have a question.
All right,
Yes.
go ahead, Bruce.
Coach Bell,
Yes, sir.
do you see the new league attracting different players to play because of the level of competition, or would that draw from our current program?
I feel like it will. I feel like it will draw. It will do nothing but draw. Yes, sir, it will draw.
Draw new?
It will draw new. Yes. We would have students that have never played before to come into the league. We would have students who have played in the current league, possibly 1 or 2 years, and moving into the new level of competition that we would like to play against.
And then you mentioned you had a certain number of players already.
101.
Okay, do you have any idea how many of those have played in the city league up to this point?
If no, I do not. However, I feel that it would be close to 90% have played in this league before. Yes, sir. At least 90%.
Mr. Bell, are those applications been taken verbally, or are they signed and committed to?
These are signed and committed applications.
And how much will it cost to play in your league?
It will cost $47
$47.
to play in the league.
Are there other questions of Mr. Bell?
Now, insurance and all be provided as it is now.
Insurance will be provided. Part of that $47 will go toward the liability insurance of the children.
And then another question, has this been discussed with all the coaches that coached last year of all races, colors, and creed?
It has been discussed with coaches throughout the leagues.
Okay, and let's make this clear. Now, this is not a segregation thing.
Absolutely, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is, again, to look at going to another level of competition and everybody.
It's only to improve the athletes that are going up.
Yes, it is. And if you've seen and talked with the coaches in the middle school and the high school, Coach Yates is talking about looking at a 6-year program of 2 years in middle school and then passing those on to Coach Wilson for a 4-year program. We're right now basing ours on a 6 or 7 or 8-year program where we pass them to the middle school. They become as fundamentally sound as possible. Coach Yates using them the same way, and Coach Wilson will have it from high school on. And basically what we're doing is trying to get on board and playing catch up with some of the other leagues and some of the other programs that we know these children will face.
All right, Greg, thank you for your presentation. We have other questions?
No, I'll make a motion to recess for 5 minutes.
You can have it.
I want to ask Mr. Martin one question.
Greg.
Or Mr. Woodard.
We're going to take a recess for 5 minutes. Be a chance for y'all's people to come up here and talk to people about this.
Yeah, I knew that. All right.
Mr. Martin, man.
We are resuming discussion on this matter of a request to use the facilities at MLK by a newly formed league. So this discussion now, Greg, is going to be among the board here. Are there other comments, or you have something forthcoming? A motion is forthcoming. I mean,
No, I have a motion.
we have a motion on the floor. Is there an amendment or anything, or where are we now?
I'd like to ask Mr. Martin questions.
Go ahead if you want to ask. Yes, that's in order.
Or Mr. Woodard.
Terry Martin, our Recreation Parks and Rec Director, and
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Martin, how would this affect our league in the playtime for the field at Martin Luther King?
It would affect our league probably, like Coach Bell said, 90% of the kids. If they have that many signed up, 90% of them are from our league, so it would eliminate our league.
It would eliminate our league.
Yes.
Okay.
If the number he's given us is true and he has 90% of the kids that usually sign up in our program, it would eliminate our program.
And our sign-ups are going on right now, I know.
To the 20th.
To the 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Other questions now?
Yes, sir. Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
did you extend an olive branch to even go to another league, to try to hear and make some changes
Yes, sir, I did.
to most of these older coaches of yours?
Yes, sir. I met with Donnie Payne and Mr. Wayne Jones. I met with them on 3 separate occasions, beginning back in April. And then I also met with what I believe was part of their board about two weeks ago. And I did extend that to them and let them know that if they were interested in changing leagues, if that's something they wanted to look at doing, we were fine with it. The city was okay with doing that. We would look into that because I understand, you know, that Springfield High School plays the Clarksvilles. And there's a lot of Clarksville teams that's in that type of program. So we were okay with that. We were all for it changing. As far as being dominating in our program that we're in now, you can see on that front page, you know, we're successful, but we don't dominate it. I think since 2006, there's been 31 Super Bowl games played, and Springfield's only won 6 of them.
Of course, that's the golden egg when you're playing, is to win that Super Bowl. But we do dominate. And some of the smaller programs around town, we dominate on them pretty good on a regular basis. Every once in a while, they'll have a group of kids that come through that are successful. I can remember East Robertson upsetting us a couple years ago. But as far as changing because we're so dominant in this league, that's just not the case. But as far as wanting to change, to have different competition and competition that the high school plays, I understand that completely, and we're 100% for that. We can do that.
Okay, give us some of the qualifications for coaches and all of the layouts of what has to happen.
Well,
in order to be part of the junior pro program.
In all of our sports on our application, our sign up, it asks if you're interested in coaching. Football just happens to be, we're blessed because we have more opportunities to choose from coaches than we do usually in baseball and softball, because baseball and softball, Mr. Woodard's usually scrambling trying to find somebody to coach right there before the season starts. Football, we don't have that problem. We've got a great group of football coaches. They're awesome in our program. They do a good job. Everybody is required to fill out a background check, and if you pass that background check, then you're in. And you'll stay in place unless we have issues, something comes up on the field, we have issues, we have several complaints from parents or other coaches, then obviously we have to look into that. But we have good coaches. We don't have no problem with our coaches. We have great coaches. Since taking the league back over, and I'm not sure what year that was, if it was before 2006, but since taking that league and that program back over, we haven't had any problems. We've been successful. We've had great, as far as spiritual and educational and speaking into these kids' lives, we want them to do that. We're okay with that. We want them to do that. We want them to be a part of that. And they can do that while the city's running the program at the same time. I've been on both ends of it. I've been on a board and I've been in the city. Do I think Coach Bell do an excellent job? I absolutely do. I think he'd do a wonderful job. But as far as being on both ends of it, it's a headache. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff that goes on, and I think that we're giving them the cream of the crop by saying, hey, we're going to run the program. You come sign up. We're going to do all the paperwork for you. You go out and coach these kids, speak into their lives, educate them however you want to, and teach them all the factors of life that you're looking for, and be successful. And we're okay with that. And you get all the praise and the glory for winning the Super Bowls. You can go out there and ask anybody in the community, who was the Super Bowl coach or who gets the credit for being the Super Bowl champ 2 years ago. Well, it's not Mike Woodard or Terry Martin. It's them guys. They did it. So I don't understand why they're wanting to separate from us. We've offered them everything that they're looking for, and we would love for them to stay.
Including banquets and all this good stuff, too.
The center is wide open. I made it available to the cheerleading crew this year. We just told the cheerleading coaches to make sure they called all the football coaches and let them know what was going on, and the center was available, and they had a banquet there this year.
All right, are there other questions of Mr. Barton?
I have a question.
Paul?
Were any of the other coaches, are there other coaches in the league that were not contacted?
From my understanding, the coaches were contacted. They just were not our present coaches that we have in place. They were contacted about what was going on, but they were not asked to coach. They were not asked to be a part of the coaching staff with the new board.
Other questions? No. Mr. Sneed?
I would comment with the statement that Mr. Bell made that there was 100 and some odd kids who have signed up. It's almost like the recent presidential primaries where you win the most votes, but you don't get the delegates. If they've got that many kids and all they're wanting to do is what we've done for another school, or not another school, but for a school, this is a group, which is use the field. I would have to make a motion to see what the vote is, because there's no motion. So I make a motion that we allow the Springfield Youth Development Group use of the field under the current fees that we have.
Which is?
So those fees are established.
All right. Well, actually, let's see, the motion we had just said, discuss and possibly take action on the request to use the field, etc. Are you adding to that, or are you trying to restate what's here?
Well, it says discuss and possibly take action. We haven't made a motion to take action, so I'm making the motion with the fact that there's 100 and something students who have signed up with them. I guess it's, and I would hope that our athletic department would work with this group if it does come to its demise, like he said, but I don't know why there's so many moving over there. I don't understand that reason, but all they're asking for is use of the field. We've let other people use it who have asked the use of the field. So I'm not in a position to discriminate. You can use it when you ask, and this group can't use it when they ask. It's just a matter of use of the field. The chips will fall where they fall.
Mr. Nugg.
Well, the thing is, South Haven has hardly ever used our field. It's a night game. It's a Friday night game. They're not competing or undercutting our league. It's a high school 8-man football league. I can count on one hand the amount of nights that they use that field. There's absolutely no conflict. Now, I will want to say this with the price of the field, and I think we need to reconsider. We set $700 because at the time, South Haven was requesting night games. So the lights have to come on well before the game starts and whatever. And at the time that we established the fee, TVA had a rate of like $150 for the type of lighting that we had. If you play junior pro football, whether it's us or the other league, lights aren't going to be a factor. If things are going to be so bad you need to turn the lights on during the day, well, there probably won't be any games scheduled because something bad's fixing to happen. But if you were to lease the field to them, I don't think $700 is a fair price. It needs to be, the lighting needs to be eliminated. I think it's fair to request that they reimburse city employees for their time and that sort of thing, so we get reimbursed on that. But once again, I mean, you won't have a city league.
Mayor, point of order. Made a motion, looking for a second.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion?
We already have a motion on the floor, did we not?
To bring, the motion,
Originally. Before Clay.
yes, the motion originally
Was by whom?
Hubbard and Trotter to get
Get it, okay.
to get it on the floor.
All right. Okay. We got to be sure this is right. You had a motion and a second. Now you're wanting another motion and a second.
No, they motioned a second to discuss and possibly take action.
And that's
and
okay.
My motion was to grant their request.
You can't supersede that with another motion until that other one is disposed of. Am I correct?
Well, I'm not. We're taking action.
There has to be action on the first motion.
So it
And
says
the
take
motion
action.
is, this is to discuss and possibly act on a request. And the request is to use the football field at MLK by a potentially newly formed junior pro football league, which was represented tonight by Greg Bell. So what we've got before us is to allow them to use the field. Well, our policy outside of our own group using it is what we set for South Haven. A fee was established, etc. Would that be then applicable, Paul? In this case?
Logical, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can add to, you can amend, but at this point, you've heard the motion to allow them, this group, to use the field at MLK pursuant to the same policies that we've got in effect now for people outside our own program.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Remember that Saturdays are the days.
Well, it still goes back to the Parks and Rec controls the use of that field. That didn't, when South Haven got to use it, that was, the schedule that we've got takes precedence. We don't change ours for it, but that doesn't mean they couldn't use it at other times, okay?
Concessions, you also
Well,
haven't got
whatever the
contract.
policy is, what did South Haven do when they used it on the few times?
The folks that we have contracted out run the concessions.
Because that's what we do for all the rest?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we follow our own policy.
And we also have say-so on rain.
All right, that's right, because we had a big issue with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if the field is gonna be if it's where we think the weather is bad enough, we're gonna destroy the field, we say no. And it doesn't matter who you are, it's just, we're looking after the field.
Yes.
All right. Based on what I've heard lately, we need a whole lot more soccer fields and maybe another football field around here. I don't think everything's gonna be solved tonight, but all right. So the motion that was on the floor and has been duly seconded, does somebody want to call for the question on that?
So the motion that they put on the floor is good enough to vote?
It's good enough to vote because that's exactly what they asked for.
I'll retract my motion, and Mr. Trotter, if you want to retract yours. I retract. So
All right, motion's on the floor to allow them to use the field pursuant to the present policy along that line. If you favor this, vote aye. If you oppose, vote no.
Head,
Yes.
Carnell,
Aye.
Trotter,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Hubbard,
No.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 6-1.
All right. All right. As we move through our agenda, 3.4 is to discuss and possibly act on the parade applications for the Chamber of Commerce on June 4th for a Farmer Appreciation Dinner and Spirits of the South, and on June 11th for the Taste of Country. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Okay. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Trotter,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Snyder,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. And now discuss and possibly act to schedule a special meeting to discuss parking issues in the downtown district. I have noticed, and I'm sure you all have, Ms. Hester, that we do have some signs up now directing parking. So we have moved in the right direction. I'm not saying we're through. And I'm trying to look, and you all think a Monday night, they say 6 o'clock would be a good time to have your meeting. The next one that looks like where we can get a notice out and we're going to have most everybody here, I think, is going to be the 27th of June, because we're still in the budget cycle and some other things, some people being out of town. So is there any objection to having a meeting on this issue?
What date is the?
That's a Monday. Okay.
What date is the last?
21st of June is the regular
That's the
board
regular
meeting.
meeting.
The regular meeting's the
And when is special
21st.
meeting for the budget?
What I announced the other night was we'd probably look at, after we do the second reading, which is on, and that's where the public hearing is, on June 21st, we would already advertise a noon meeting for Thursday of that week and
good.
finish it up on third reading. Okay? That was what I didn't, that's not in stone, but that's what was thrown out. All right.
I recall, if Mr. Ellis, can you remember, did we not commission a traffic engineer to look at this 10 or 12 years ago? Do you recall that?
I don't think we were getting.
That was just discussion. We didn't actually have somebody do that for recommendations. Because this is something that's come up time and time again, long before.
I remember some discussion of it at some point, and that could still, we could do a little looking around on that, given that this much time you'd have.
We discussed that already in the previous
Staff meeting.
about
Okay.
doing something to that effect.
Okay. Well, I want to reiterate what was said the other night. I mean, we know that what you all as small business individuals are doing is a very challenging job. There are going to be some who don't get to stay the course. We know that. That's part of what happens. But we still believe we've got the strongest retail group that we've had downtown in many, many years. And it is crucial to this community being, to drawing people in. So many people, we look at downtown, we look at the community every day as we pass by trying to get from A to Z, and other than running around the flag pro people. We're doing pretty good otherwise. But it is very important that we do things to try to keep this downtown viable. We have invested a lot. We're still going to do the Greenway all the way down to Central and then down Central to John L. Patterson and South. There are a lot of things that we're doing that will complement this. Planning and Zoning is already looking at the area south of 9th Avenue on Main and some areas there that we need to clean up and continue to tear down buildings and all. So I want you to know we are serious in trying to do what we can. We do have a lot of parking places, but we know that the average person still wants to park very near or within 3 parking places of where you're going in. And unfortunately, that's hard to do unless we stack the cars, and I don't think that's gonna work. Ms. Hester, did you have?
So I did a little trial thing, and I worked the law, but I took a little piece of construction paper and I put our Serenity Shop parking on a Saturday when no court was open, no lawyers were there. I just wanted to do an experiment. So I taped it on a little thing, and in a 3-hour time, after 1 o'clock, everybody had gone. In a 3-hour time, 4 people had pulled in and pulled out of the spot in front of our Serenity Shop. Like they weren't there to shop, and so they saw the sign. So I took the sign off, and I thought, well, the experiment worked, because it was labeled our Serenity Shop, and they moved out. It was a little disheartening that I got a letter from the police department saying that I had broke the law. I never saw the police come around, and somehow they found out, like I told somebody, but it did work. It did work.
What you're saying, so if we allowed a procedure where you could rent that space, you're saying it will work?
It did work.
Okay, all right.
I would say that I was quite amazed on Saturday.
Well, did you get a ticket or did you just be reminded? A warning?
I wish other people had been.
Well, this is very public that the lady got a warning because technically it was a violation, but she isn't going to have to come to court yet.
I am very honest, so if you ask me, I would always tell the truth.
Oh, I believe you.
If you ask somebody if they've been parking there for 2 hours, I'm sure they would.
But it is so interesting that if you look back, and I mentioned that the other day, to every decade going for the last 5 or 6 decades, you get the same argument. You still got businessmen and women who say their neighbor who has a business is parking in front of their business. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. It's like a broken record. And some things change and some things don't. But we want to make this work. So let's look at Monday the 27th at 6 o'clock for the meeting with our merchants, okay?
Monday, what was that?
June the 27th.
Do we have to have a motion?
What time?
We don't have to have a motion on that. I'm throwing that we have.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, 3.6 is to discuss and possibly act on proposals for speculative buildings in the North Industrial Park. If I can have your attention.
Okay. We need a motion.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Paul, do you have something here?
Well, I just brought this up before the board at the last meeting. I just wanted the board to review it. There's no urgency to act, but it would be nice to know that this is an option if we do have people that are interested in doing this.
Well, what are we waiting on then? An actual request for proposals from people?
Well, we have had a request to look at this and see if we were open to do it, and my response was, well, yeah, we've got something on the, prepared a draft to be able to do this. So, we've got about 30 acres out there that, we need to sell. So,
okay.
My only point being, we just need to, if we're going to do that, we just need to make it open to everybody and let everybody
well, why don't you
submit
come back
something.
with a proposal and word it for us and let us see it at the next meeting and we'll be ready to go.
Well, this is basically it.
This is it.
Yeah, unless you've
All
got
right.
any other
Is there a
changes
motion
you want to
then?
make.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
We've already got a motion. So
All right.
Oh.
We already had it?
Yeah.
More
Mr.
efficient
Hubbard,
than
I
I
made
thought. All right. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Cornell.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right. 3.7 is discuss and possibly act to approve the extension of the mowing right-of-ways and litter control contract 15,001 for an additional 12 months through June 30th of 2017. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Cornell.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Sneed. Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
3.8, discuss and possibly act on a request from CSX Railroad to pay a deposit of $38,934 for construction, engineering, inspection, and flagging services required for the repair of the bridge, the highway bridge on Bill Jones Industrial Drive over the railroad. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Cornell.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg. Pass 7-0.
3.9, discuss and possibly act to ratify the emergency repair of the aerial tower fire truck in the amount of $12,461.06. The contractor being BST Fire Trucks and Emergency Services out of Knoxville. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Head.
Yes.
Cornell.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Gregg. Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Pass 7-0.
Chief Hamill, can you climb that ladder now? Yes, sir. All right, were you a little worried about it before? Were you a little worried about it before? You had some cables that weren't right?
Yes, sir, it was in bad shape, but I can climb it.
All right, sounds good. Monthly report on the sewer progress.
The last report, one of the several big things that happened. One was y'all approved contract 4. There has been a pre-construction conference. The contract start date will be this coming Monday, and it'll go until March of next year. One of the biggest things that we managed to accomplish, and it saved us a lot of time, it saved us a lot of money. The proposed location of the Sulphur Fork Creek tank was such that it was in the flood zone, 100-year flood zone, but more importantly, it was in what's called a floodway. Now, a floodway is a FEMA manipulation of data. The floodway will never, ever occur in nature, but they take data and they manipulate it, and they say if you're going to affect the floodway, then you got to go to FEMA with a conditional letter of map revision. They'll take 6 months to respond. They may respond favorably, they may not. This would have thrown the whole thing way out of kilter. Now, the problem was that the original design of the tank was there was about 3 feet into the floodway. So we thought, well, if we move it 500 feet away, get it out of the floodway in the flood zone, we'll fix that. But then you talk about all this more design. So we thought, well, if we just move it 10 feet, what would that do? And the folks, the experts that we talked to said, well, this gets you out of the floodway, and that basically solves your problem. I thought, well, crud, we should have talked about this 3 weeks ago. Why didn't we talk about it? Well, you can't really reinvent the wheel, but it looks like we're pretty much set on where the tank's going to be, maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6 feet closer to the bluff than where it is. We'll have to move a water line, but I think we're pretty much going to stay on target. Now, contract 4, you're going to see those folks. They're part of it out there by New Chapel Road. They're part of it behind Westside Elementary School. The eastern half of Indian Hills along 5th Avenue as you go further on out, and then around Industrial Boulevard and all that area down in there is where contract 4 will be, and that'll be starting next Monday.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. All right, we have the consent portion of the agenda.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trotter.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Sneed. Gregg. Cornell.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Mr. Nutting's report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to do one thing, and that is hand out the latest quarterly report. I'm sorry it's late. You know, budget time was always a priority to get the budget. And we just have a copy for all of you. And that's it, Mayor.
All right. Anything further?
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah.
Mr.
Go,
Brewer, can I ask
Mr.
Mr.
Sneed.
Brewer a question?
Mr. Sneed is first on this one, and I'll get you. Go ahead.
Just a point of order question to the city attorney. Can the maker of a motion vote against that motion?
And the maker of the motion
Vote against it.
vote in against the motion. After discussion, I would think the maker of the motion could withdraw that motion.
But the question is, can the maker of a motion, when voted, roll call, vote against it?
I would think the appropriate procedure would be to withdraw the motion.
So the answer would be no.
Okay, so that was on me. I already know, that was on me.
I didn't say anything. I just asked.
Well, it was pretty obvious what you were talking about, but that's all right.
The motion was.
To get it on the floor.
To discuss.
Exactly.
To discuss and possibly take action on, which that was an appropriate motion, and
Right.
he voted in favor of that motion, so.
Anyway. there we
The
go.
action was taken. It may not have been the action that was initially discussed.
Okay. We can debate it. It was still a 6-1 and it passed.
I would like to know the status on the Bransford, Mr. Brewer. The gym?
Bransford demolition.
A lot of people are asking me that.
The architect and the contractor and I met last Tuesday morning. The schedule starts June the 1st. The project will end, or the building will be occupiable again September the 1st. It's highly recommended that nobody be in the building during the removal of the asbestos and the demolition of the gymnasium.
So have they already made plans for their summer programs?
I do not know. I'm not involved in that.
Okay.
I'm just demoing the building.
The police chief is standing up. I believe he knows something about it.
We want those to go on.
Yes, they've already made arrangements over at the Bransford Elementary.
Okay.
They've already made arrangements with the school board, and they've approved that, so they're going to take their program and simply cross the big field, and they'll have it right there. Stays in the neighborhood. They're just going to provide the facilities and all the instruction there.
Because I was concerned, got a lot of kids that really need that feeding and stuff.
Yes, I know they're already signing up kids for the summer, and usually that maxes out. We usually end up with a waiting list during the summer. We usually cap it about 60 kids, and we usually have a waiting list every summer.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Good report. All right. If nothing further, we stand adjourned till any further.